Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Larry, and on this channel I like to discuss watches and my passion about watches and everything related to watches. So if that's something that you like, feel free to stick around, subscribe to the channel, and I intend to upload every single week. And if you have watched my previous video, this is part of my do one hard thing in a year challenge, if you will, and putting myself up on the internet talking about a topic that I'm really interested in watches. That's how I'm manifesting, or how I'm participating in that goal. So hopefully this is something you like, and if there's any other suggestions on topics, feel free to let me know. But today, the topic that I want to get right into is actually starting a new watch collection, or starting as a beginner in watch collecting in 2025. And the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because I was just scrutinizing my watch collection for that I've accumulated in the past couple of years, and I'm largely very happy where I am at right now. As you would know, my watch collection, and I'm due to make a state of the collection video very soon. My watch collection right now exclusively only has Seiko and Grand Seiko. I've sold all my Swiss watches out. So this is where it got me thinking, like, hey, you know what, if I were to be starting a watch collection, or if I'm only getting to the hobby in 2025, what are the things that I wish I knew before I got right into it? And the reason why I was thinking back, and the reason why I was really thinking about it is because at the very beginning of my watch collecting journey, I bought a Tudor Black Bay Heritage in 41, in-house movement, blue bezel, very sexy watch. But the problem about that watch is that it was too thick, which I did not consider, and also because my wrist is too small, which I did not consider. So those are considerations that I never knew I need to have when I'm making a significant watch purchase. If it were a lot cheaper, if it were to be maybe say perhaps $100, $200, I probably wouldn't really be thinking too much about it. But in Singapore, back when I was buying it, I had a discount at my AD for 10%. So I think overall I paid about 4.5 grand Sing dollars for the watch, and that is a significant amount of my my money, my savings at that point in time. I was very happy with the purchase up until the point whereby I realized that it just looks slap-sided on my wrist. It looks extremely big, it looks very thick, it looks like a hockey puck, it looks out of place. And I myself at that point in time was relatively scrawny an individual, and I still am. I'll consider myself a mid-sized individual here in Singapore. So I think these are a lot of the things that I never knew. No one really gave me a lot of advice when I was getting into watch collecting, or when I bought my first luxury watch. And to consider that as well, the individual at the AD, at the sales individual, did not give me any advice at all. And obviously the individual wanted to make a sale, rightfully so. So I didn't expect the individual to really give me a lot of advice, but you know, this is something I've learned along the journey. So without further ado, I want to list out a couple of criteria, if you will, that I would consider when I'm making my watch purchase, if I were to start over again. And hopefully this is informative for you if you're going to be making your own watch purchase very soon. So, and I think first and foremost, I want to get right into it. The size of the watch is extremely important for me. Now I say this in the sense that I know that my wrist is about 15 to 16 cm around, which is about, I think, 5 inches around, thereabouts. I'm not good with math, but about 5.75 inches around, the 5 to 6 inches around. And most watches, most tool watches will not fit me. I've tried on things like Panerai, I've bought and sold it before. I bought the Tudor once again, and obviously those are very big, massive watches. So I've kind of realized that my sweet spot is anywhere between 34 to 40 mm, depending on the lug-to-lug length. And you want to be very conscious about these sizings, because while the watch can be perhaps a 40 mil, like my IWC, the lug-to-lug length can be extremely long, that covers and extends beyond your real estate of your wrist. So if you have narrow wrist like myself and extends beyond, it's not going to be, it may not be the look that you want, or it may be a look that you want, right? One or the other. But only time will tell, or rather you will only realize it when you actually try on the watch and realize that it will sit beyond your wrist. I had early photos, I imagine, that of my IWC that I tried on, and at that point in time I never realized that the lugs were jugging out of my wrist, and it was only after learning about, you know, proportions, learning about lug designs, length as well, that I kind of realized that it was not the right watch for me. I've moved it on since. Same thing for my Panerai. So sizes really matter when it comes down to the watch that you will purchase. Once again, if you are into oversized watches, if you're into large watches, power to you, right? But I think for my own personal experience, it's extremely important to know what you're getting into when it comes down to the watch size that you're getting, and also the watch lug length and design that you're getting as well. The most important thing is that if you can get into a store and try it on, that's the most important part. So that's part number one. And number two is the kind of watch that you will be purchasing. And I say this in the sense, if you are going to be living here in Singapore, and I think the most practical watch will be a watch that has a metal bracelet or a rubber strap. You will sweat through a leather band right away. And for that matter, I never knew that leather bands can also be sized up, but that's a different point. My point being is that you should buy a watch that most closely fits your lifestyle, because if you are going to be buying a watch, maybe a dress watch, but you work with machinery, the kind of shock and also the kind of tolerances that a dress watch, like perhaps even a Lange or a Patek, is never going to have to withstand the kind of shock, the kind of disturbance that it's going to cause to the mechanism. It's going to be broken very, very soon. Similarly speaking, if you're going to be dressed to the nines in the boardroom, you do not also want to, or maybe you do, but I would not recommend perhaps wearing a Panerai that's overly large, that speaks very boldly of yourself. If that's a statement that you want to make, fair enough, by all means. But I don't think extreme tool watches have a specific place in the boardroom. So those are the kind of things that you may also want to consider. Practicality of that specific watch that you're looking at. Thirdly, I think you also want to consider the price point of the watch that you're potentially getting. And I say this in the very sense that watches are not necessities, if that kind of makes sense. Those are things that we want to get for ourselves, but ultimately when it comes down to watches, these are unnecessary luxury purchases that we feel good about. It's very emotional purchase. You will get next to zero real life benefits by wearing a Lange or a Patek, unless you are going to socialize, unless you're going to network. Then perhaps there's some draw and power to those events and situations, but those are going to make up perhaps 1 to 2% of your time, and the rest of the time that you're going to be wearing a 20 or 30,000 watch, it doesn't really add value to your life. I can walk down the street with a Rolex, and every other person may potentially have a Rolex as well. It's not a big deal. Similarly speaking, you can be wearing a Patek here around, and no one's gonna think twice about you. So my point being is that unless you have a very specific social demographic appeal or a necessity, you probably can make do without a watch in general. So once again, these are very emotive and very irrational purchases that we are getting into. Now my point being is that do not go into debt to make a purchase for your watch. Do not think that, hey, you know what, by buying this particular watch, I'm gonna improve my quality of living. I'm gonna improve whatever aspect you're trying to improve, right? It's probably not gonna do that for you. So only buy it within your means. And that links directly into my next point as well. Buy it for yourself. Do not try to cloud chase. Do not try to buy the next greatest thing. This is not an iPhone that you want to chase. And even for iPhones, nowadays you can have it and use it for 3 to 5 years and they're still perfectly functional. So do not try to chase whatever other people actually like, and you think that, wow, yeah, I'm gonna really enjoy the watch because XYZ, the next person really enjoys it. Try to form your own opinion about these watches yourself, and try to form a connection, if you will, of these watches, because once you have an understanding of these watches, you would actually have a more fruitful journey with them. You'll feel more longevity and you want to keep them around. because otherwise once the hype or the craze is over, it's very likely that you might move them on and you're going to lose some cash from it. I have been there before. I've sold my Panerai, and that was definitely an exploration stage for myself. But I think that is a very big and important point for all of us to really consider when jumping into the whole entire watch collecting consideration. And once again, this also has ramification when it comes down to finances, really, because if you were to make a purchase and it's something that you may not like in the long run, you're gonna move on from it to recoup some of the cash, and the moment these watches leave the store, it's gonna take a very massive hit when it comes down to the resale value. Perhaps your Panerai is gonna lose up to 40%, 30% of the value, and you're gonna end up selling for $2,000 to $3,000 loss, right? So those are considerations that you want to have, and make it a very deliberate choice. Watches, once again, are not necessities. Take all the time that you want in the world to make a purchase. Do not get suckered into making a purchase because of an imminent price increase. I think, once again, if you have the ability to make the purchase, and if you want to make an informed decision, you can take that time, even if they were to bump it up and say, I'm gonna bump it up for 3 to 5% or 7% even. Very recently, right around June this year, I was told that JLC, I was considering a JLC, I think I mentioned in the previous video, that JLC was going to increase their price mid-June, thereabouts, this year in Singapore. I took my time, I did not commit, and lo and behold, I checked the website, it was still the same price when I visited the boutique, so I can't tell whether the individual was exaggerating the truth, or I don't know what it was. But if I were to have taken the bait, I would be 13 grand down the hole. So I think, once again, really take the time to really consider a purchase, unless you're made of money, and by all means just buy whatever you want, then you probably wouldn't be really watching my channel as well. So that's that. And lastly, I think X factor. I think we'd be very deliberate and very conscious about why a specific watch is important, or maybe say has a specific draw to you. I grew up in Hong Kong, and all around Hong Kong, if you realize, it's all about Seiko. There's a lot of Seiko, there's a heavy Japanese influence. I've seen Seiko all around. I didn't think too much about them, and wall clocks with Seiko, watches with Seiko, and obviously you have G-Shocks running around as well. But the point being is that Seiko has a very deep influence based on my growing up years, and probably that's the reason why I'm so drawn to Seiko as well. At the same time, I think Seiko does a very good job with their heritage releases, bringing back very interesting pieces that I do want to share with the channel in the future. So have an understanding of what you like about a specific watch, or perhaps even have an understanding of what you like about a specific brand, so that when you make a specific purchase, you would be it'll be very easy for you to justify to yourself and say, you know what, this is the kind of person that I see myself wearing this particular watch. Or even if you were to imagine it, this is a kind of representation of an extension of yourself, really. And I truly believe that the everyday carries that you have on your person, the kind of items that you have in your house, on your person as well, these are fully representative of yourself as an individual. A lot of the reasons why I feel, once again, why we get into such an unnecessary hobby is because as an individual, as part of the society, you want to show your individuality, and by having an item that potentially help us to feel that way, with different combinations of different goods and whatever not, I think that is how we want to express ourselves as an individual. And perhaps my point of view will change in time as I continue down the rabbit hole, but this is how I currently see the whole entire endeavor at this point in time. Yeah, so I think I've listed out a very quick couple of points and a couple of justification rationale around how I would consider a watch purchase, what I wish I knew at the very beginning of my watch collecting journey. But if there's anything else that you think was important to you at the very beginning that you wish you knew, feel free to comment down below so everybody can also discuss further. Once again, thank you for watching your video. If this is the kind of a watch content that you like, do subscribe and stick around, and do like the video. And if there's any other topics that you guys want to discover, or maybe even within Singapore that you want to discover about a watch scene here as well, do let me know. But until next time, I'll see you guys. Take care.